And we're going to be talking about love. And this is not going to be fluffy love. We're going to be talking about love in a very deep sense. And we're going to get into what it actually is and why so many people miss it and they don't see it. So it'll be an interesting deep dive. If anybody wants to ask a question, just pop your hand up as well, and I'll um, answer questions as we go along. You know the drill with that. But we're going to be expanding our awareness a little bit around what love is, and what love isn't. And I'll touch on as well a little bit of how this might come up in things like ceremony as well, like in the ceremonial experience, because you often hear people talk about, oh, all is love. I'm sure you would have heard anyone who's had any kind of psychedelic experience or ayahuasca ceremony, and they come back and it's just a common thing. All is love, and everything like that. And you hear that as a concept, and it makes no sense to somebody here, but they have this revelation when they're in there. Okay, so hopefully we can shed a bit of light on as to how we get there and what that is. So it's a simple topic on the surface, but it's deep. So what is love really? Okay, here's something I've observed again and again working with people for over 16 years. And it's this statement that rings true for everyone, that every human being on the face of the earth, doesn't matter where you're from, wants to be loved and appreciated for who they are. I've never met a person who didn't want that. And most people, I'm sure we can all agree to it. Most people can feel that immediately. But the big question is, how does that actually happen? Because in practice, what I see is sometimes I see people inflating themselves with a pride and looking down on others, and other times people deflating themselves with a shame and putting others above them and looking up. And in both states, we're not being who we are. So we can't be loved for who we are if we're not going to be who we are. So this class isn't about romance. It's not about trying to be more loving and giving you tactics for buying flowers and chocolates and things like this. It's about understanding what love actually is from multiple different angles, okay, and why so many people miss it, even while they're searching for it. Okay, so first, where do people get ideas about what love is? What do people confuse with love? All right, so yes, Melissa?
Oh no, sorry, I thought you were asking us. I thought that was a
No,
question.
no, it's
Go.
rhetorical.
Keep going.
I'll
Keep
answer my
going.
own question. You're good. You're good. But we get ideas about love from movies, stories, songs, drama, media. We get it from culture. Okay, we get a lot of ideas of what love is. Okay, but when it comes, a lot of the stuff that we get through media, it's designed to capture attention, but it's not designed to convey truth. And where that becomes important is because when you see things like often hear people talk about their family dynamics and all this kind of stuff and how they learn love. But what are people comparing that to? Because you have to have you don't you don't have any perception without a contrast. And so a lot of the time they're comparing their family life to what they've seen in a movie or what they've seen from a friend. So they might have seen a friend whose parents look like they're always happy and all that kind of stuff, and they saw this one-sided image. So it's a comparison thing that's going on. That's why I bring up all of these aspects as being important. Okay. But what they are is movies and stories and drama and songs. They're designed to capture attention and not convey truth, because they teach people, or they show a version of love that looks like intensity, obsession, being swept away, which is lovely for a story. It's stimulating, it's dramatic, and it's very marketable, but it's not love in the deep sense. It's more infatuation. And infatuation happens when we're conscious of the upsides and unconscious of the downsides in a person or a situation. So there's nothing mystical in that. And there's nothing wrong with it either, by the way. but it's an incomplete awareness. It's only partial. So the metaphor I like to use when describing this, it's like walking to a house with only half the lights turned on and everything looks amazing, because you literally can't see the whole house. Or it's kind of like being in a nightclb, and then all the lights come on, you're like, oh, everything's great when it's dim. I mean, not that I would
like
speak
those
from
lights.
personal experience.
I don't like the 3 o'clock lights.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Give me the 10 o'clock lights.
I'm sure I've scared plenty of people who go, this guy looks all right. And then the lights come and go, whoa, get away, mate. So, but it's partial awareness. That's the point I'm making here. Okay. So what is it actually? Now I'm going to make a statement that is going to be very abstract to start off with, but just stay with it. It's going to make sense as we go along. Okay. What true love is the synthesis and synchronicity of all complementary opposites. That's what one of my mentors, Dr. Demartini, revealed to me. And I know this to be true through experience. Okay, so but what that actually just means in actual English, we can all understand, is that love is the balance of opposites. So being in a state of full awareness of all sides at once. So if infatuation is being conscious of the upside and unconscious of the drawbacks, the downside, resentment is the opposite of that. Resentment is being conscious of the downside and unconscious of the upside, the benefits. When you see both sides simultaneously, you have love. And I'm going to explain how all that is, but I'm just dropping that in, and you'll get to an understanding of how that comes about. Okay. And so I'll explain how, and I'll also explain why you feel as though it disappears. So does everybody have a pen and paper right now? Yeah, cool. Here's the first thing of why it seems to disappear and how love gets blocked. I want you to write down, everybody, I don't know, 3 to 5 traits that you look for in a partner. What did you like, you look for, whatever. And just let me know when you're done. You could say Australian, beard, lives in Brazil, tell shit jokes. Obviously, you can't all put that down, but feel free. It happens, Everybody got their 3 to 5?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Now I want you've got your 3 to 5 there. Write down the complete opposite of what each trait is. So if you've got someone who's kind, I want you to put mean. Someone who's physically fit, someone who's unfit. Or large. Sorry?
I've got eyes, like attractive eyes. What do I do to that one?
Okay, maybe pick a different trait. Pick a behavior trait.
Okay.
You've gone for a physical trait.
Oh, okay. I only done one. So what's the opposite of empathy?
Well, if empathy is understanding, having shared experience and understanding, someone who is, I wouldn't call it like, what? Potentially, like it depends on the context you're using it. So are they dismissive? So they're not understanding what you're feeling. They're dismissive of your feeling.
Yeah. So probably, somebody that can just be understand. Yeah.
Because if they're not empathetic, if they're inapathetic or unempathetic, it means that they're not being able to resonate and understand what you're thinking and feeling. So that's a lack of understanding.
Yeah. So, okay. So it's like that almost agree to disagree. You don't have to understand what Like,
So
but
if
you
you
can
want
have
someone who's
empathy
empathetic,
for it.
if you want someone
Yes.
who's empathetic, the opposite of empathetic would be to you, what? Dismissive? Ignoring your feelings, dismissive, unempathetic.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's
Let's
put
just say
unempathetic,
I'm empathetic. Yeah.
because that would be someone who doesn't understand your feeling, the way you're thinking and feeling.
You don't
Great.
have to agree. Yeah, you don't have to agree with it, but just be empathetic if that's how I feel.
Yeah,
Does
it's
that
a
make sense?
recognition. It's the
Yep.
recognition of how you feel. Beautiful.
Yep. Oh, that's a
Okay,
good word.
great.
I'm stealing that.
So
So that
guys,
can be,
here's the thing. All right. So you've got the things that you're looking for, and you've got the opposite. The opposite comes with everything you're looking for, you get the other side as well. So when people tell you to write out your dream partner and your dream person, and we write up a shopping list of all the things that we're looking for in a partner, nobody ever tells you to write the opposite of that. And it's our lack of awareness of the opposite that smacks us in the face when we see it. Because we're not looking for the opposite, we're looking for the one side. And when the other side appears, we set up an expectation on the person to be one-sided. And when the other side appears, we shut down to them. And it blocks us from expressing that love and affection. Okay. This is making
so if the
sense to
person, is the
nobody's
person got
one-sided.
the same trait? So if somebody is empathetic, they also have a side that's unempathetic as well.
Yes.
Is that what it is? So,
Yes.
but am I just seeing the empathetic, the empathetic side because that's only what I want to see?
No,
And then
you've seen that
I'm
initially.
pissed off with the other side.
Yeah, Melissa, you like the empathetic side, but
Yep.
you'll cut down to them when they're not being empathetic. You set up an
Oh,
expectation for
okay.
empathy, and you'll block and you won't love the other side. So you're looking for a one-sided person. So this is what gets put out in media by coaches and stuff like that, is to come up with all the list of the things that you're looking for, but they don't look at the other side. And so when you set up a expectation that I'm going to find a one-sided person, you'll shut yourself off to love, because there is no such thing as a one-sided person. Is anybody here one-sided?
No,
We can't even be
I don't
one-sided.
think so. But you want, oh,
It doesn't exist. So what that sets up a fantasy expectation. Now, every trait has two sides as well. So if the things that you look up for up. So for example, if somebody's looking for somebody who's got money, you say, well, what's the drawback of having someone who's got money? Well, the drawback to somebody who's got all this money is that, okay, if they're paying for everything in the relationship, then you have to ask them for permission. You're reliant on them. And that can be disempowering if you ever want to exit the relationship, but you've got no money.
yeah,
Okay,
that
so
was my divorce.
there's a benefit to money, but there's also a drawback to money as well. Physically fit. People say that they want a physically fit, attractive partner, and that's common. There's nothing wrong with that. However, the drawback to somebody being physically fit is that other people are going to hit on them. Can you handle that? If I'm dating a good-looking girl, if I have an expectation that she's not going to attract attention from other men, I'm going to start getting the shits whenever she does. That's a fantasy that I have. So the drawback of being with that partner, the drawback to that is one of them would be the intention. So I don't infatuate with looks. Looks also fade, because if I sit there and think that looks are just one-sided, the second that person isn't looking beautiful, in my perception, I'm going to have this expectation they're always going to be 100%. The second that drops, my attraction will go with it. So what's the drawback to physical beauty? Don't become infatuated with it. Be able to see the other side of that. So there's benefits. I'm aware of the benefit of it, but also be aware that there's a drawback to it. Because anything that you infatuate with will eventually turn into something that you resent.
What? Say that
But
again.
if you
Anything you infatuate with will eventually turn into something you resent.
Really?
Yes, write it down.
But like,
Because-
for example, I'm
Yes,
trying
Louise?
to figure out something there. Like, you talk about beauty. I used to work in fashion. My ex-wife was a model. She was
Yep.
gorgeous, super smart, funny, and like, she's my best friend. We stay best friend right now. I never saw like any drawback out of that. She's aging, she changed, but I still love her for what she has inside her.
Yeah, but when she goes, one of the drawbacks, there are drawbacks to beauty. If you're dating somebody who's very beautiful, okay, so there's a lot of music, there's a lot of sound going on. I'm getting some feedback sound from people. Can everyone just mute if they're not? Yeah. So some of the drawbacks could be they take time getting ready, they invest a lot of money into their look. You know what I mean? So there's a pressure, there could be a pressure for you to be able to maintain that. You know what I mean? At the same time as well, if she's that invested in the way that her physical appearance is, there's all sorts of things that could be taking place. A, she'd be taking forever, but B, she could also be very self-conscious in her looks. My ex-girlfriend was a model as well in London. She was very self-conscious about looking picture perfect to get a thing of milk from down the shop, you know? And so she couldn't feel comfortable unless she had maintained a certain level. So that's a drawback to her and to me, because she didn't want to leave the house until we had all these things. So it made certain simple things a little bit difficult, right? Now, here's the thing. I'm not making a good thing bad. I'm making it balanced.
Okay.
And so the more that you can balance something, you won't resent your partner for displaying the other side of the trait that you previously infatuated with. Otherwise, you'll begin to resent it. I know plenty of people that resent the fact that they don't have any money in the relationship. They feel like they've got the golden handcuffs on because they went with a guy or a girl, they went with their partner. I've seen both. They went for a partner primarily for money, and now they feel trapped because they don't have means. They've got used to a certain lifestyle. They don't have means to go beyond it, and they feel trapped. So now they resent the fact that they can't earn, and they've got all these restrictions. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Anything that you infatuate with will eventually turn into a resentment. So just see the other side. There's benefits, and you go to the opposite, to the things that you dislike. What are the benefits to the things you dislike? I use this example often with mean. Hold on a second, I need to turn this light on. Okay. My face was getting a bit dark there. I use this example with mean, okay? How does it serve you to be mean if your partner's mean, right? And again, people have a hard time with this, but I'll give you a hypothetical example. If we're at a bar, nice bar, and we're hanging out together, and let's say Vivian, we're at a bar, we're hanging out, and there's a dude, it's a nice place, and there's a dude who comes up to you, and I've got my arm around you, and there's a dude who comes up to you and he starts grabbing your ass, and he stinks of beer, and he starts talking and slurring his words and everything like that. Now, in that moment, do you want me to turn to him and say, hey man, I see you've noticed my girlfriend's ass? I mean, I like it too. This is what actually drew me to her. We have so much in common. We should actually be friends. Can I buy you a drink? And should I be nice to the person there and be kind because all I have is kind? Or would you prefer that I was a bit more authoritative and a bit more direct and maybe said to the guy, hey, keep your hands to yourself, mate, and just set a boundary? Now, that could be mean. People could say, David, you're being mean.
Just don't say anything, just punch his face.
Anyway.
Or I would do. What? Touching me, so I'm allowed to touch him.
Yeah, I was the same. I was like, I don't need protection. I've got my own fists and mouth.
It's easy like that.
You don't know.
Girl power.
This is the
We don't need men to protect us.
Your job would be to keep him away, not even coming next to me in the first place.
Okay. Look, let's not ruin the hypothetical here, okay?
It was a good
But in that,
hypothetical.
let's just say, but we're in agreement. You don't want me to put my arms around and give the guy a hug. You want me to be able to set a boundary, maybe punch him, maybe use my words. Okay. Now, in that moment, someone could say, you're being mean. I'm being mean to him in that moment. Okay. So you like it when I'm mean, but it serves you. At the same time, though, am I being mean? Because I'm giving that guy feedback that he just came up to somebody who was clearly with somebody else and grabbed them and was acting inappropriate for the scenario. And I gave him a really strong feedback. Now, if he goes and does that in a biker bar, what do you think happens to him? He get caught more than just some colorful language or one of David's punches. He might get killed. So am I actually doing something that's actually loving by giving him just enough feedback of mean to teach him a lesson where he has the opportunity to adjust his behavior? This is what Socrates and Aristotle used to do all the time. And it used to fuck with people's heads. And that's why made people angry, go from town to town. Aristotle did this the most because you'd go into town and you'd give you a hypothetical when someone said, this is definitely a bad thing. And you keep giving people hypotheticals until they didn't know whether something was bad or good. He just kept expanding it. So in this instance, is everyone picking up on the fact that there's two sides to every trait? And it's our blindness to seeing both sides of the trait, which means that as soon as it pops up in a partner, we completely shut down. If you don't find the drawbacks to what you admire, you'll get hooked by infatuation. You'll shut down when the other side appears. If you don't find the benefits to what you judge, you'll be reactive and resentful when it shows up. So the love doesn't disappear. Love's underneath all of this. It just gets blocked by misinterpretation. That's it. You balance the balance interpretation.
You will only, and is that almost then you will only like it if it serves you?
There's a little bit of that because you're aware of that it serves you. That's why
I'm confused.
Yeah,
is that love them because that's kind of selfish? Like
I've just given you the example of when someone being mean serves you, you like it. But if you've got a black and white thing of I'm looking for a guy,
so then
the second he's mean,
when the others, that's kind of what I meant. That's what
I use guy and girl, but it's interchangeable. If I'm looking for a girl who's always nice, the second that she's mean, I perceive that she's mean, I'm gonna shut down to her unless it serves me. So if I'm aware,
so you have to accept that it's like you can be obviously protective in that bar, and you like it, right? Because you've been protective, so you like it.
It's about being aware.
But then when it does the opposite to protective, you can't get shitty at that person. You have to accept that that's the balance. That I liked it when they were protective of me, but when they're not protective, I can't crack the shit.
What it is, Melissa, is being aware that it has two sides.
Oh, so then that's why you don't crack the shit. Once you're aware, you don't crack the shit. It's not about
blind acceptance. It's being aware that being mean has two sides. So not to set your expectation that mean is a one-sided trait.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you have
sorry. Yeah.
So now, no, don't be sorry. Now you can communicate with your partner because what you think is reasonable force and what they think is reasonable force depends on the situation, and B, it depends on the person perceiving. But you can at least have a conversation now because you don't think that all mean is across the board just a bad thing. Now you can talk about things without judgment. You're not judging it now. You're saying, okay, this is a little bit over, I can accept this much and this much is a bit overboard, whatever, but you can
Yep.
at least open that conversation and it's not a reactive shutdown. That's
Okay,
what it
that
comes
makes
down to.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So an example of this is we have a client and he had issues with his dad. He had a lot of resentment to his dad. And his dad was very critical to him growing up. And this was shutting down a lot of the affection that was going between them. You know, and he felt like he couldn't please him and all this kind of stuff and yada yada yada. So do you want to do you feel comfortable sharing your story on this one, Eddie?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I had a lot of resent that I was a basketball player. My dad, made the Olympics, and I made the national team, and decided to stop during college, and didn't know what I wanted to do. Getting a lot of anxiety about always trying to perform at my best and everything, and kind of blame him for pushing me too hard when I was young, and realized that I love basketball, but not in the same way that he did. So I kind of perceived that I was taking his values upon, and I had a lot of resent for that. And then eventually, Dave and I dove into it, and I became very grateful because I started to see that both me and my brother, we are where we are today in our careers because he pushed us that hard, that we both act different in our careers and have a different set of values besides just striving for money and success, which is not his solo value, but that's how I perceived back then. And I saw how he pushed me, allowed me to created all those opportunities that actually allowed me to fill the voids that I created when I was young, and allowed me to fulfill all my dreams, which was being in the US, starting a family here, helping others grow and figure out what they want to do. Do that as a professor. And now I'm merging my passion once I start feeling grateful. I appreciated rather than resent anything. I called him and told him that this as well. And he cried, I cried. It was very touching. It was awesome. It was a really good moment. And I also told him that I understand because how hard it was for him, given how much he loves us, to be so hard on us. And now that I'm a father of a 4-month-old, I understand a little bit more how much more goes around life besides just, when you're talking to your kid. And as a kid, you think that everything you do is causing your parents to react that way. It's just kind of a full circle. But I don't perceive that pushing my daughter, I mean, she's young, right? But I already don't perceive that pushing her to be a bad thing. I perceive that as challenging, but I also support at times. So it's how I do it and how I want to do it that'll be potentially different. But I'm still going to push her, and I'm not going to shift and just be let me do everything for you, because I know that also has drawbacks. And they've helped me see what could have happened if he did not do that. And just a quick example, I think it's like my brother. I really judged my dad for getting the car and being like, "How was your grade?" And he'd be like, "I got an 80." And my dad would be like, "You could have studied more, right? What did you do yesterday?" And my brother literally said, "No." And they fought about it. And I thought that was crazy that my brother responded that way. And they've helped me see that, what does your brother do today? He's 27. He's one of the highest specialists at Heineken in Brazil. He's logistics for the entire northern region of the country. And he said, what are the best things? Does he do really well? I said, he knows how to talk to management, express his opinions with respect. And I go back to the scenes in the car and saw how much those situations with my dad that I judge my dad for help him achieve what he does today. So a lot of linked together over time. And, I'm very grateful, and I wouldn't change a thing about the past.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Could you guys feel how much love he has for his dad right now?
Mm-hmm.
Can you see as well how that was all of that love that was always there? It was never not there, but it was blocked by the perception and the resentment that he held for his dad. He couldn't feel the love that his dad had. And can you see as well that when he expressed to his dad, they had a moment of love without condition? Because as soon as he appreciated his dad for who he was, and his dad felt that, he broke down because he had the reflection. That's a gift. Beautiful is that? See what I mean? So it's like when you remove the fog, the love that's always present underneath can be seen and felt. So this is what I'm pointing to with some of these understandings of the traits. Okay, understand both sides, see how things are serving you, remove the flog, and then you can communicate to people. Beautiful. That's beautiful. Sorry, Sabrina?
No, I said to Eddie, thank you for sharing.
Hey.
Oh, it's no problem. I love sharing. You guys just let me know. I've done for more than a year with them, and it has changed my life. I used to puke every morning with anxiety. Still made it work, productive and everything. Now, I'm a father. Like that happened as I was doing this with them. I learned how to connect with my wife. We almost went to divorce level because of different views about things, and we learned how to communicate on each other's values and have a baby, and we're happier than ever. Got all my diets and all those things in a lot better way, and I refound my passions. I mentioned that basketball is not my dream. I just learned that it's in a different way. I love doing research on sports finance, and I was hiding from that, just doing research on topics that I thought other people would feel that would important, and they helped me see like what I truly value, and that happened when I reconnected to my inner child, and all those moments I label traumatic that actually helped me see who I am today and appreciate all those.
Oh, wow. Happy for you.
You guys should go back and watch some of the recordings of the group chats with Eddie. There's moments that are like just had us in tears nearly, because you could just see the shift, and the way Eddie talks is you're just in awe of him. It's amazing. And now to be a daddy to baby Mia, and it's amazing. It's been it's been crazy to watch you this year, Eddie. To when I started here with everybody, and then to see you now as a dad, and especially the appreciation for your dad now being a granddad and all of those things. It's it's beautiful. And you and Tiff, it's a really beautiful story.
My biggest advice, everybody, is don't hide away from whatever you feel like you're ashamed of, or don't filter yourself in front of Dave. Let it come out. He won't judge, and you actually figure out what the heck you've been hiding from yourself that you didn't know because you're scared of saying it out loud. So that's it. I'll let David go, but I'm always here if anybody wants to chat. I've always got a lot of support from the group, and it's a big thing on my journey.
Yep. Don't hide, y'all. Okay, thank you, Eddie. But I'm sure everyone could feel that, that's a lived experience of the point that we're making here. So, and here's where it gets a little bit even more personal. Okay, so this is when we're looking a little bit more outward. Okay, but here's how the misinterpretation happens inside us, and this is also how the outside world is a reflection of your inside world, and how you can also this is more about the self-judgment that blocks your self-love. Okay, so it's like anytime you see somebody and you judge them, and you judge them for doing something, and you're too proud to admit that what you see in them is inside you. You judge them as either someone who's beneath you. You either resent them and say, okay, they're doing this thing and I've never done that thing, and you haven't this and the other, and so you're judging them for it. Or you admire somebody and you put them above you, and you think that you're too humble to own within yourself what you see in them. Whether you put them above with admiration or put them down with resentment, you're disowning a part within yourself. It's a reflection. And any disowned parts within yourself creates a judgment, and you can't have love when you're judging. So when you can see in yourself what you see in others, the judgment dissolves. Do you remember that example I gave you guys with that client who was really challenging, and she was pushing my buttons and digging her heels in and wasn't listening and everything like that? And in that moment, I unconsciously went into a judgment, and I didn't even realize it, because I was like, at the end of it, I'm going, oh man, like this. And I had to go and find it in myself. And when I found it in myself, I leveled the playing field. My judgment dissolved. When you don't have the judgment, that's when you have intimacy. True intimacy. What I see in you, I see in me. This gets part of that is philosophical, but part of it's just the way the mind is actually reading information. When you have intimacy with somebody and you're not above or below or anything like that, you see the person. Part of the reason like that I don't judge my clients, like I'll give you an example, a simple example. It's if anyone ever, if a partner, if a girlfriend of mine or if a client ever came to me and shared their drug experiences with me, I wouldn't judge them because I've taken drugs. I have a history of taking party drugs as I was growing up. I don't judge it. I don't have any shame about it. I can admit it to any single person who walks on the face of the earth. I can tell you exactly how it served me. I can tell you exactly why I did it. I don't have any resentment. So if somebody goes and says and shares with me a drug experience, I don't judge it. You're not doing anything I haven't done. I don't have a judgment, which means that we can have an intimacy. But when you don't feel like you're being judged, you open up to somebody. And that's why it's a closeness in the conversation. Same thing if you're looking up to someone. I used to look up to one of my mentors, John DeMartini, for his intelligence. He's read 32,000 books. I haven't fucking read 32,000 books. I'm like, oh, smokes. I'm not that clever. And so I felt a little bit nervous speaking to him because I felt a bit intimidated. I didn't want to sound like an idiot. Now I don't mind sounding like an idiot in front of you guys. It's fine. But to this guy, I'm sitting there, there's all these like physicists and stuff around. I felt like a bit of a moron. I didn't want to feel like an idiot compared to them. And so I shrunk. Now I went and said, okay, where do I have my intelligence? I went and did the exercise and I had to own intelligence. Where do I have my intelligence? Where have I attained information? And when I looked at it and I did the exercise, I found that I've attained information through travel. I've traveled the world. I've been to all these crazy places. I've been to different, I've lived in different countries. I've got I've attained knowledge of culture from different cultures and things like that. And once I started to stack these things up, you know what I mean? I knew how to play all these different sports. You know, I know all these things. It became very clear to me that it's in my values that I have a relative awareness in my value structure. He's not smarter than me. He's just got a different intelligence. I know how to cook. He doesn't cook. I know how to lift in the gym. He doesn't lift in the gym. I know how to lift in the gym heavy weight and not hurt myself. That's a skill. You know, he doesn't have that skill. So it's like I can sit here and compare myself to him and I stop honoring me and then I pull myself down. That blocks me from acknowledging myself. I don't have love for myself in those moments when I'm intimidated by them. I don't have love for myself if I've got a shame about my own drug use. See what I mean? So when we have a judgment on somebody else, it's actually a part of, they represent a part of us. It's a reflection within us. So we can use the outside world as feedback to let us know how to look within ourselves. If you know how to ask the right questions. Okay. So, but you can, I'll give you an example. I worked with a client who was judging her son. Her son had stopped talking to her. They had an argument. He started dating a girl. She didn't approve of the relationship. They had an argument and she stopped talking to him. And I was working with her and I was asking, I was trying to get her to see, I go, what are you resenting about this? And she's like going, he shouldn't do that. A child shouldn't do that to the parent, blocking them out, this and that. Okay, cool. She had these specific actions that he had done. Not responding to her card was her big thing. I go, great. When have you not responded? When has somebody sent you a letter or a card or something like that, and you've intentionally not responded because it's the intention that she was fired off by. She'd done the exact same thing to her own father, who she didn't talk to before he died. And she couldn't admit it. She couldn't she couldn't reconcile those two things, and she stopped working. She was holding on to the resentment, and she was blocking the love that she has for her son because she would rather judge him and not see where she'd done the same thing. So you can block this as well. The love's there. It's just being blocked. Is this making sense to everyone?
Yeah.
You guys are you're following? Cool. Just want to make sure. If you don't follow, you can let me know. You say, David, you make no sense, mate. Or if you need more clarity, you let me know. Okay, so when we circle back to that statement of everyone wants to be loved and appreciated for who they are, who you guys all are in your authenticity is an expression of what you value most. I'll get you guys all to do a value determination exercise. Your highest value is who you are. That's where your identity will revolve around what you value the most. If you ask a mother where love shows up, how she expresses love and how she wants to be recognized, it's through her children, as being a mother with her kids. A builder is with his craft. My highest value is this business. So my expression of love is coming through this business. I don't know if you guys feel any of that, but it's like going, yeah, my expression of love is through the business I do. That's my service. A teacher will express their love through knowledge. So we express our love through our highest value. That's our highest values, but that's one of the values that we express our love through. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, so conflict will arise in relationships, and we won't feel the love because if we expect other people to give us love in our own value structure instead of theirs. So there's a lack of understanding of what's important to them and what's important to us. So there's two ways to do this. It's A, have an expectation, know what the other person's values are, and just expect them to show you through that, because if you look, you'll find it. Okay, I get this a lot with people that judge their parents, and they go, oh yeah. There was one guy that was saying his dad was really critical about his business. His dad was very logical, business orientated, and he's a teacher. So every time he mentioned his business, he asked him questions like, okay, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? Have you thought of this? And he thought he was being critical to him because he didn't have an answer to any of that stuff. It's just his dad's way. His dad's business orientated. When he had answers to all those questions, his dad goes, awesome. Sounds like you really know what you're doing. Love it. Come to me if you need any help. See, his dad recognized him in his own values, but he not in the kids. So the kid was judging his dad, withholding love, didn't want to show him affection, judging his dad because his dad's not saying what he wanted to. Okay. Now, the way you can bypass a lot of this is work out what your partner's value structure is, work out what yours is, and link your values. How does me doing what's important to me help you do what's important to you? If you do that, if you do that enough, then no one has to be any different. So you can appreciate your partner for being themselves naturally, and they can appreciate you naturally because they can see how it's serving them. All of these things are just going to build up a resilience to your love where you won't be shutting down to things so easily. I hope you guys are picking up on that you guys have a lot of love in your heart. Everybody does. It's blocked by a lot of these things, a lot of these misperceptions. There's just a lot of fog around it. We can clear that up and you can create a really strong connection with another person.
So are you saying I am lovable? I can be loved.
Yes, Melissa. Look, darling, if someone can tolerate me, then I think that you're all
They
right.
can love me. Cheers.
Yes. No matter what you've done or not done, you're worthy of love. Every single one of you are. Doesn't matter. And you will never be able to convince me otherwise. I've taken people through some extreme things and we've found love in it. It's always there in the balance point. It's always there. Eddie's experienced it. You've experienced it. Melissa, anyone who's worked and hit a balance point will experience it. Because the closing thought that I have here is at the level of the soul, nothing's missing. Love doesn't disappear. It just gets blocked, obscured. When perception is whole, love for yourself stabilizes, love for others deepens, relationships stop being fights about who's right. You can improve, you can have a more nuanced conversation. The final example of all of this, it really solidified this for me. And this also speaks to the ceremony. We started off and I touched on what comes up in ceremony, because a lot of you guys, are going to come and sit with us and drink, is where this understanding of love kind of calcified and actually showed me what it's real is with my brother. Some of you guys might know this story, some of you might not. My older brother, our eldest brother, Paulie, and I had issues with drugs. He was a heroin addict our whole adult life. And I had a lot of resentment toward him for that. But I also loved him. It was just this love-hate thing going on inside me the whole time. And all I could see was the pain that his actions were bringing to everyone. Everyone was trying to help, but seeing my parents cry all the time and mum asking me and saying, I don't know what to do and all this kind of stuff, and just seeing how much stress and anxiety was there and not knowing if he's living or dying and just having to watch your brother slowly die in front of you was hard. So it was sad, for me, but it was also, I also resented it because I thought that he could do so much more. So I get angry and sad. And I go and I sit in a ceremony, and it shows me, I see a vision of my brother, and it shows me all of this weight that he's carrying, that's hitting him, and all this heavy energy around him. And all of a sudden it starts showing, all of these memories start coming up to the surface that I completely forgot about. And it showed me him teaching me how to ride my first bike, and showed me him teaching me how to climb the first tree. And we used to climb on the school across the road from our house and get tennis balls and play cricket and everything like that. And he showed me how to bowl a cricket ball and all these things. He was such a great big brother, and I really looked up to him. And I completely had blocked that all out. I forgot all of it. And when I had that, both sides of him in my mind at once, my heart opened and I just cried. I bawled my eyes out. I had so much love for my brother right there. And I go, wow, you were a great big brother. And then I could see the ripple effect of how his influence on me and how he had served me even when he was on drugs, and how it was still serving me, how it was bringing the family together, how we had all kind of rallied behind, how we had all expanded our awareness of drugs, how mum and dad can talk. Mum and dad never took a drug in their life. Now they have an awareness of drugs, not a judgment, and awareness, mental health, all these things. We expanded. Angelo, in mum trying to help Angelo through his disabilities and everything like that, she learned about health. And that's influenced my brother's life. Paul's doing what he's doing. I'm doing what I'm doing. All of these things, Angelo's ripple effect, it's all coming to me at once. All that was there was love and gratitude. When I came out of that ceremony, I said it to him. And we had a moment. And for that moment, I loved him without any condition. And he felt that. And we both cried and we had a moment. And he had a tear, and I said, Angelo, I love you with the drugs. I love you without. You don't need to change. I love you as you are. I meant it with all my heart. And he died within a month of that experience. Every time the last words I ever said to him anytime he went home was, I love you. And I meant it. When he died, I didn't grieve. I had relief because he was out of pain. But the last words he heard from me was, I love you, and I meant it. And so I had nothing but love for him. because I removed those blockages, because I had a balanced orientation of him. He didn't need to be anything else. We created the retreat because of this. Paul and I, the inspiration for all this whole thing that we're doing came from this, because I said, how do I help somebody else have this experience that I had? If he had died before I had that experience, I'd have been hanging on to all of that weight and resentment and everything. I'd have carried that for the rest of my life, and I'd have judged myself, and I would have been all over the place. But the gift that we got from that awareness. Now, I could have gotten that awareness without the drink. The drink just gave me that. But that's why there's levels to love. And that was a full heart opening experience. So you guys are all part of that ripple effect of his life now, for being on this journey with us. But that's what I want to get across. That's an integrated love at the end. You see, even him, through his challenges, no matter what he had done or not done, he was worthy of love as soon as I had eyes to see it. And I don't grieve him now. I think about him and my heart lights up. And when I shared that with my family, same thing. So that's our deep dive on love. Hopefully something in my ramble landed for people. I don't know. Sometimes I just go all over the place. Did that bring up anything for anyone that they'd like to share or anything like that? Does anybody have anything to add, questions or anything like that?
It brings regret.
Oh.
Go ahead, Sabrina.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing, David. Very sad, but very beautiful story. And yes, I recognize a lot with my father, who passed 11 years ago. And then I hear you telling the story, and I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful. I had the last conversation with my father, and yes, he cried, and I cried, and now now it's balanced. So if I think of him, it's like, oh, crazy man, like that, but nothing like still heavy,
Beautiful.
So yeah, so hearing this story, and because sometimes I think, oh, I need to be crazy to forgive him, what all things he did to me and my mother. And then I hear you, like, no, I did the great thing. It's okay.
Lovely.
So yes, it's it needs more time to land, but yeah, I get it.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Fabrice, you were saying?
Yeah, well, no, I think for me, it's like, first of all, it's beautiful, your story. And it brings clearly awareness on the different side of perception, the way you resent things, and it brings also regret, because you realize that I would have loved to hear that conversation like 15 years ago, to be able to live plainly and fully express love for people that are gone now. So it's kind of like, it's good. It's a slam in my face. At the same time, it's a weird feeling.
You can work on that though. I've worked with plenty of people that have had griefs or things like that over people that have passed, and they've been able to balance this in the perception, open the heart to that. I did work on my brother when he passed as well, and I've done that with clients as well. So you can have that experience even with someone's passed.
David helped me with it, Fabrice, a lot. Both my parents have passed, and I was young when my mum passed. I was 21, and I'm 43 now. And then I was 34 when my dad passed, and very love-hate relationships with them both, very unbalanced with them both. And David took me, some huge moments were with a lot of stuff that I think then I carried through my life of the same thing. If I had healed in my 20s with my mum, would my life panned out the way that it did? But all of the moments were right. All the things that I went through, heartache, pain, myself, other people, it was all meant to be. And it just, when it opens, it just all makes sense. So I think people sometimes think, oh, you know, that person's dead now, I can't kind of fix that relationship, but you kind of can. It's and David goes deep with you. So you've just got to, like Eddie said as well, trust the process, trust David, and he makes you feel, he holds a space that you can just, blurt everything out with no judgment. I've gone through a divorce now. I have a son, and my life is just, I'm just looking at life in a whole new way.
Brilliant. Beautiful.
Thank
Beautiful. Thank you. Melissa.
I know. Woo, woo.
Okay. Everybody.
And we're all here for you too, Fabrice. It's like not just David and Paul. Everybody's kind of here in their own in their own little ways. And I think that that's been my best thing about this as well, is this is a safe place. There's no judgment towards any of us. We're all here to learn and understand and be there for each other and support each other. And I think that's the most important thing, especially in this day and age, is holding those safe places for each other, that there is, you know, all different walks of life, and we're there to just support each other, and that love is there and support.
Okay, beautiful. All right. Does anybody else have anything they want to share?
Thank you. I'll pop in. Thank you for sharing your experience and your story. That was really touching, especially for me at the moment. Well, I recently lost my mother, and at the time I didn't really perceive that I had lost anything from that relationship. But now we're, 8 months past, I am clearly able to see that I have lost a lot. So it's a bit of a hard pill for me to swallow, particularly coming into Christmas. So thank you. Yeah, that hurt my heart a little.
Oh, well, look, again, these are all things that we can work on. So don't hesitate to reach out if you need a bit of support, given the time of year and everything like that. Just reach out and we'll make something happen. So yeah, that door is open to you.
Thank you.
All right. Beautiful. Well, I hope we all understand a little bit more about love now. Okay.
Love, la 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 la.